Oppong-Asare.
Thank you, Mr Gray, for chairing this debate, and it's an honour to follow my honourable friend for Coventry and North West. I also like to thank the honourable member for Chipping Barnett for putting forward this debate in response to the petition which calls for sanctions against the Nigerian government and officials. It's a very timely debate that needs to be had. The atrocities that we have seen in Nigeria in recent months are understandably very concerning for my constituents. I know many of my constituents who have friends and relatives in Nigeria and want to see our government help ensure their safety. I firmly believe that we have an obligation to condemn violence and human rights abuses where we see them, which is why I have publicly condemned the violence that took place on the 20th of October when young people's rights to protest were tragically suppressed. In Erith and Thamesmead, 4,469 people have signed this petition that we are here to debate today. This is the highest amount of petitioners across the constituency seats. I have been contacted individually by dozens of people who want to see action to ensure that human rights are upheld in Nigeria. One constituent wrote to me to say recently that she watched a documentary on how Nigerian military opened fire on unharmed children who were happily and peacefully demonstrating and carrying Nigerian flags. Many were killed mercilessly. She said she cried and said to me, this could have been anyone. My constituents are right in demanding we see long-term action. A statement of condemnation, like my colleagues have mentioned just now, is not enough. As a country which subscribes to international human rights law, we must be quicker to act to support those who are having their rights infringed upon them around the world. Accountability is the cornerstone of democracy, and I was pleased to see the Minister of Africa write to me to confirm that the UK government will continue to work with the Nigerian government and international and civil society partners in support of police reform. However, it is clear that suitable methods of accountability have not been implemented. It was just yesterday that the Nigerian military admitted that soldiers fired live bullets at anti-SARS protesters on October the 20th. However, there is still no confirmation about the number of young protesters who have tragically lost their lives. According to Nigerian officials, 2 young people were killed in the shooting, but reports by Amnesty claim there are 10 lives that were lost. How can this be considered appropriate accountability if we cannot even reach a consensus on the amount of lives taken at Lekki Toll Plaza in Lagos in October? I do not believe placing economic countrywide sanctions in Nigeria will help address these ongoing issues of police and military violence. In the first instance, the UK government should be calling for an independent investigation into the allegations of misconduct by the Special Anti-Robbery Squad. Organisations like Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch, who have been following the abuses that have taken place in Nigeria for years, should be consulted in their evidence and collated alongside an independent investigation to form a judicial review. Furthermore, the investigation should look at wider issues of violence and human rights abuses by military and police across Nigeria. Mr Gray, the UK government should regard the findings of an independent investigation with the utmost seriousness and take action to implement sanctions across individuals identified as being responsible to the atrocities that have taken place. They should also make appropriate adjustments to the overseas military security and justice assistance funding and training of any Nigerian military, security and policing organisations which may have committed violations in line with the government's own guidance to ensure OSJA funding meets our human rights obligations and our values. Mr Gray, This issue does not begin and end at Lekki Toll Plaza on October the 20th. There have been reports of violence by Special Anti-Robbery Squad since 2017, and there continue to be serious consequences as a result of protests which took place earlier this year. Young people have reported intimidation by the Nigerian government following protests, and as mentioned by a number of my colleagues, there have been reports of bank accounts frozen, social media banned, and people being detained in prison for their involvement in speaking out against police violence. These actions are unacceptable in democracy and claims of accountability for its wrongdoings. No action can replace the lives that have already been lost, but that does not mean that we cannot take action. I hope at the end of this debate we will get a commitment from the Minister that the UK will follow up their actions to hold officials in Nigeria responsible. Mr Gray, I finally want to take this opportunity to raise the case of Nigerian DJ and songwriter DJ Switch, who has had her life threatened for her role in speaking out against military and police violence. The prominence of young Nigerian females at the forefront of NSAR's protests has highlighted the need for more action taken to end violence against women and girls in Nigeria. Will the government take this opportunity to ensure that these actions in upholding human rights around the world extend to protecting women and girls against violence? Thank you, Mr Gray.
Alan Smith.